Something is wrong, and most people feel it, but cannot name it. They have more access to information than any generation in human history. More tools, more convenience, more options, more connection. And yet the anxiety levels are the highest they have ever been recorded. The loneliness statistics are staggering. The number of people who describe their daily life as overwhelming, purposeless, or quietly unbearable is climbing every single year. We built a faster world and somehow ended up more lost in it. And the response most people reach for is more of what caused the problem. More stimulation to drown out the discomfort. More distraction to avoid the questions that are asking to be answered. More noise to cover the silence that, if we ever sat in it long enough, might actually show us something important. There are men and women walking around today carrying the weight of 1,000 unprocessed thoughts, reacting to everything, controlled by emotions they have never examined, building lives that belong to other people's expectations, while their own deepest nature goes completely unexplored. This is not a new problem. Over 2,000 years ago, a group of thinkers watched human beings doing the same thing, and they refused to accept that this was inevitable. They believed and spent their lives proving that there was a different way to move through the world, a way that required no perfect circumstances, no guaranteed outcomes, no approval from anyone. They called their philosophy Stoicism, and the 10 principles at its core are not historical curiosities. They are a living operating system for a calmer, stronger, more deliberate human life. This is what we are walking through today. Principle 1. Without a purpose, you are not living, you are just responding. Those who have a why to live can bear almost any how. Viktor Frankl. That sentence is Stoicism distilled into 11 words. The Stoics believed, and Frankl's experience proved at the most extreme possible cost, that purpose is not a luxury, it is structural. It is the load-bearing wall of a human life. Remove it, and everything else eventually collapses, no matter how well-furnished the rooms appear from the outside. And yet most people have never seriously sat down and asked themselves what they are for. Not what they do for work, not what their family expects, not what society has told them success looks like. What they, individually, honestly, in the quiet of their own conscience, actually stand for. What kind of person they are genuinely committed to becoming. What they would still pursue, even if nobody ever acknowledged it. The reason most people avoid this question is that answering it honestly requires change. And change is uncomfortable. It is easier to stay busy, to keep the schedule full enough that the deep questions never get the silence they need to surface. But here is what the Stoics observed, and what every serious philosopher since has confirmed. A life without a chosen direction is not a free life. It is simply a life being steered by whatever external force is loudest at any given moment. Your employer, the algorithm, the opinion of people who are themselves without direction. Your purpose is not going to arrive fully formed. It is discovered through honest reflection, tested through action, and refined through the friction of real experience. But it must be sought, deliberately, consistently, and once found, it changes everything. Not because it removes difficulty, but because it gives difficulty a reason to exist. And a human being who understands why they are struggling is almost impossible to stop. Principle 2. What you allow into your mind becomes the architecture of your life. The greatest weapon against stress is our ability to choose one thought over another. William James. This is the principle the Stoics built entire lives around. Your mind is not a passive receiver, it is an active constructor. Every thought you dwell on, every piece of content you consume, every voice you give consistent access to, all of it is laying bricks. And over months and years, those bricks form walls. And those walls form the structure inside which your perception of yourself and the world lives. Which means if you are filling your mind daily with content that amplifies fear, comparison, outrage, and inadequacy, you are not just having a bad morning. You are constructing a mental environment in which fear, comparison, outrage, and inadequacy feel like reality, like the natural state of things, like what the world simply is. The Stoics called guarding the mind a primary discipline, not a secondary concern, not something to address after all the external goals have been achieved. The first work, the foundational work. Everything else depends on it. This is not about retreating from the world or living in ignorance of its difficulties. The Stoics were deeply engaged with the world. Marcus Aurelius governed an empire. Seneca navigated the treachery of Nero's court. Epictetus was a former slave who had known genuine powerlessness. What they shared was the refusal to let external chaos become internal chaos. The understanding that the world will always have noise, but the decision about how much of that noise gets past the gate belongs entirely to you. Audit your inputs, guard the gate, build the inner world deliberately, because you will live inside it for the rest of your life. Principle 3. How you receive criticism reveals everything about your relationship with yourself. No one can make you feel inferior without your consent. Eleanor Roosevelt. She was not being dismissive of the real pain that words can cause. She was pointing at something the Stoics identified centuries before her, that the power of criticism to wound us is almost never located in the criticism itself. It is located in the gap between who we are told we are and who we believe ourselves to be. When you have a stable, honest, examined relationship with yourself, when you know your values, understand your motivations, and have sat with your failures, without flinching from them, criticism loses most of its ammunition. Not all, but most. Because you have already done the harder version of the work. You have already asked yourself the difficult questions. You have already confronted your own shortcomings with more honesty than most critics will ever have access to. And so when someone offers a version of you that does not match the version you have honestly examined, it does not land like a verdict. It lands like information that you can evaluate calmly and either use or discard. This is the Stoic relationship with criticism, not immunity, sovereignty. The practice is simple, but requires consistency. When criticism arrives, before you do anything else, pause. Let the initial emotional charge move through you without acting on it. Then ask, is there something true here? Not is this person right about everything, but is there anything in this that I can honestly use? If yes, take it. Strip the delivery away and keep the substance. A person who can receive useful feedback from an unkind source is more powerful than a person who only grows when praised. If no, release it, without drama, without carrying it into the next week as ammunition for your own self-doubt. The goal is not to stop caring what people think entirely. The goal is to stop outsourcing your self-image to people who have not earned the authority to define it. Principle 4. Fear is not a wall. It is a door disguised as one. He who has overcome his fears will truly be free. Aristotle. And the Stoics would add the way to overcome a fear is never to avoid it. Avoidance is the mechanism by which fear grows. Every time you route around something that frightens you, you send your nervous system one message. That thing is dangerous. And the boundary of your life shrinks by exactly that much. The Stoic practice with fear begins with a single act of intellectual honesty, naming it precisely. Most people live with fear in a vague, unexamined form, a general dread, a background anxiety, a persistent sense that something bad is coming without a clear idea of what that something is. And in that vague, unexamined form, fear is at its most powerful, because the mind fills in the blanks with the worst possible version of whatever it can imagine. The moment you force a fear to become specific, to take a precise shape, to be named exactly, to be broken down into its actual components, it almost always becomes smaller. What exactly is the worst that could happen? Not the vague catastrophe, the specific one. And if that specific thing happened, what then? Could you survive it? Could you rebuild? Has something equally difficult happened before and been survived? Almost always the answer is yes. Almost always the specific fear, examined clearly in the light of your actual history and actual capabilities, is survivable. And often it contains, buried inside the discomfort, the exact growth that you have been circling without entering. The Stoics did not pursue a life without fear. They pursued a life where fear was not the decision maker. You are capable of the same. Principle 5. Prepare for the storm. Before the sky goes dark. Let us prepare our minds as if we had come to the very end of life. Let us postpone nothing. Seneca. He was not advocating for pessimism. He was advocating for the kind of clear-eyed readiness that makes a person genuinely difficult to destabilize. The Stoics practiced what they called the premeditation of adversity. Before entering any significant situation, they would sit quietly and deliberately imagine what could go wrong, what obstacles might arise, what emotions might be triggered, what the most challenging version of the situation might look like. And then they would decide in advance how they intended to respond. This is not the same as expecting the worst. It is choosing not to be ambushed by it. Consider the difference between two people walking into a difficult conversation. The first has spent no time preparing. They are operating entirely on hope. When the conversation becomes hard, they are thrown. Their emotions take over. They say things they did not intend. The second person spent 20 minutes beforehand sitting with the question, what is this conversation likely to require of me? Where am I most likely to feel defensive? How do I want to show up when that happens? That person arrives prepared, not rigid, prepared. There is a difference. Preparation creates flexibility. Rigidity creates brittleness. Apply this to your mornings. Before the day begins, before the noise arrives, spend 5 minutes with the question, what is today likely to test me with? And what does the person I am trying to become do when that test arrives? You are not predicting the future. You are choosing in advance who you intend to be when the future gets difficult. And that advanced choice is one of the most powerful things a human mind can do. Principle 6. Real strength is invisible until it is needed. There is a version of strength that the modern world worships. Loud, aggressive, performed. The version that announces itself constantly because it is, at its core, insecure. And then there is the version the Stoics pursued. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in a prison cell on Robben Island. He was stripped of everything: his freedom, his family, his comfort, his physical health. And when he walked out, he did not emerge bitter or broken. He emerged with a quality of character that the entire world recognized as genuinely extraordinary. When asked how he survived, he said that he realized early that if he let his captors take his mind, they would have truly won. So he protected it, daily, deliberately. He chose, inside circumstances he could not control, to remain the author of his inner life. This is Stoic inner strength at its most profound expression. And here is the truth about it that must be understood clearly. That quality of inner stability is not a gift. Mandela was not born unbreakable. He was built that way through years of intentional practice, deep reflection, and the sustained refusal to outsource his identity to his circumstances. The same building process is available to you, right now, in the life you are already living. It is built through every moment you choose to respond rather than react, through every time you hold your values when compromising them would be easier, through every morning you return to your practice, even when nothing external is forcing you to. None of those moments feel like progress while they are happening. They feel small, ordinary, unremarkable, but they compound into something that when the genuinely hard moments arrive, and they will hold. Principle 7. The space between stimulus and response is where your freedom lives. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. Viktor Frankl. The Stoics built their entire philosophy around the existence and the cultivation of that space, because here is what they understood about human behavior that most of behavioral psychology has since confirmed. An impulsive reaction is almost never your best response. It is your most automatic response. It is the response that evolution designed for a world of immediate physical threats, not for a world of complex relationships, long-term consequences, and the kind of nuanced situations that modern life constantly presents. The snap response, the defensive retaliation, the impulsive decision made under pressure. These are the responses of the unexamined mind. And the Stoics were in the business of examination. The practice begins small, uncomfortably small. The next time something happens that triggers an immediate reaction, a message that lands wrong, a comment that stings, a situation that threatens your sense of control, do one thing before anything else. Pause. Not for long, not for elaborate philosophical reflection, just long enough to interrupt the automatic sequence, long enough to ask, is the response I'm about to give the response of the person I am trying to become? Over time, this pause, practiced daily in small situations, becomes available in large ones. And in the large ones, in the moments where a single response can alter the trajectory of a relationship, a career, or a life, that practiced pause becomes one of the most valuable things you own. Your impulses are not your identity. Your choices are. Principle 8. Acceptance is the most aggressive thing you can do with reality. Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced. James Baldwin. This is the Stoic understanding of acceptance stated with razor precision. Acceptance, in the Stoic framework, is not the same as approval. It is not agreement that something should have happened. It is not the surrender of the desire for things to be different. It is the recognition that fighting reality, not working to change it, but fighting the fact of its current existence, is a form of suffering that adds nothing and costs everything. When something painful or unexpected happens, the first instinct is resistance, denial, the internal argument with the universe about why this should not be. And that argument can go on for weeks, months, sometimes years, while the actual situation waits unchanged for the person to stop arguing with it long enough to do something about it. Acceptance says, this is real. I may not like it. I may not have chosen it. But it is the ground I am currently standing on. And from this ground, not from the ground I wish I were standing on, what is the best move forward? That shift of attention from what should have been to what is releases an enormous amount of energy. Energy that was being spent fighting a closed door, now available to find and open the next one. This is not passivity. This is the precondition for effective action. You cannot move forward and fight against the present moment simultaneously. Acceptance chooses movement. Resistance chooses stagnation. Face what is, then decide what to do with it. Principle 9. Your character is the only home you will always live in. The only person you are destined to become is the person you decide to be. Ralph Waldo Emerson. The Stoics would agree entirely, and they would add one clarification. The decision is not made once, it is made daily. In the small, unwitnessed moments where your values and your convenience are pointing in different directions, and you have to choose which one to follow. The 4 Stoic virtues, wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, are not a personality profile. They are a daily practice, a set of questions you bring to how you are actually living. Wisdom asks, am I seeing this clearly, or am I seeing what I want to see? Am I making this decision based on honest assessment or on what is comfortable? Courage asks, am I acting in alignment with what I believe is right? Or am I choosing the easier path because difficulty is inconvenient? Justice asks, am I treating the people in my life with the fairness and respect I would want for myself? Am I contributing something or only consuming? Temperance asks, am I living in balance? Is my ambition complemented by rest? Is my pursuit of achievement matched by genuine presence with the people I love? These 4 questions, applied honestly and consistently, will reveal more about the quality of your life than any external metric ever could. Because here is what the Stoics understood that the modern world consistently forgets. You can win by every external measure and still lose the thing that actually matters. You can accumulate everything the world tells you to want and wake up one morning in a life that does not feel like yours. Character is the insurance policy against that outcome. Build it daily, in private, without applause. That is the only way it becomes real. Principle 10. Every day you either practice the life you want or practice the life you have. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. Will Durant, summarizing Aristotle. This is the final and most important truth the Stoics want you to carry. Everything in this script, every principle, every shift in perspective, every practice is available to you right now, without any change in your circumstances, without a better salary or a different relationship or a less complicated life. None of it requires external permission, but none of it works once. The Stoics were not people who had a transformative realization and then coasted on it. Marcus Aurelius returned to the same themes in his journal day after day, year after year, for most of his adult life. Not because he had not yet understood them, but because understanding is not enough. The mind forgets. The old patterns reassert themselves. The noise of the world is relentless, and the work of protecting your inner life is therefore equally relentless. This is the part that separates the people who are changed by these ideas from the people who are merely impressed by them. Consistency, not perfection, not an unbroken record of getting it right. Consistency, the daily return to the practice even after the days you failed it, especially after the days you failed it, because the return itself is the practice. Build something small and daily. 5 minutes of morning reflection before the phone. One honest question before a significant decision. A brief evening review of where you held your values and where you drifted from them. Small, daily, non-negotiable. Because here is what those small daily practices build over months and years that nothing else can replicate. A self that is genuinely difficult to destabilize, not because life becomes easier, but because the person meeting life becomes more capable, more grounded, more able to feel the full weight of difficult things without being crushed by them, more able to find clarity in chaos and steadiness in uncertainty and forward motion after setbacks that would have stopped an earlier version of themselves entirely. That person is not born, they are built. And the building begins with the decision made today, and renewed tomorrow, and renewed again the day after, to practice deliberately the life you want to live. Finally, 10 principles, thousands of years of human struggle, reflection, and hard-won wisdom compressed into the truths you just encountered. The chaos outside is not going to slow down. The pressures are not going to ease. Nobody is coming to make the conditions of your life more favorable before you start doing the work of becoming who you are capable of becoming. But here is what 2,000 years of Stoic philosophy has proven beyond any reasonable doubt. The condition of your outer life has far less to do with your peace, your strength, and your capacity for genuine fulfillment than the condition of your inner one. And the inner life is yours to build. It has always been yours to build. The Stoics did not teach this as comfort. They taught it as a call to responsibility, the most liberating and demanding responsibility a human being can accept. Your mind, your response, your character, your choice. Stoic mindset. If you want daily lessons in Stoic philosophy, if you want to build mental discipline, if you want to live with purpose instead of impulse, subscribe to Stoic Mindset, because strength is not loud, it is steady. And here we build it daily,